All the brands do it. They plan for these massive sporting events, the FIFA World Cup and the Olympics being the two major ones. And for years, literally years, they plan their lines that they're going to bring out in the lead up to those events, make a ton of money off of sales. And when someone wins a gold medal and they're wearing the shoes to run that, under 10-second 100 meters, or they score the winning goal in the final with the boot from that particular brand, then boom, that's going to make a ton of sales for people. So of course, the Olympics being cancelled has a massive effect on things, but I think it's only going to have a massive effect on certain shoes, and other shoes are going to be fine. And I think today's Kyrie 6 USA is one of the fine ones, and there are particular reasons why I think those kind of shoes, like the Kyrie 6s, are going to do okay, and they're going to hold their own in the marketplace. And it's actually right for other shoes to be cancelled and put back until next year, or to expect lower sales than they were expecting. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the reasons why I think the Kyrie 6 USA is actually going to do okay in the marketplace, and then we'll take a look at some of the details on the shoe that make it a fine shoe, and includes a question about part of the shoe that I just don't know. So let's get into this and take a close-up look at the Nike Kyrie 6 USA. This is the Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel, Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel des. Mainichi Absuru no de Mainichi Mite Kudasai. And every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, sneaker reviews. And yes, I do need a haircut, I know. And I'd love to get a haircut, to be honest. I usually get my haircut something like once every 6 weeks. And we've been in lockdown here in Tokyo, Japan for about 5 weeks, and I hadn't had a haircut in the lead up to that. Now, there are some places I could go and just get a if I wanted to, but I want to kind of stay home, stay safe, keep my family safe as well. So for now, we'll just have to do with this Barnet. Sorry, that's just the way it is. But we'll get there. We'll get back to it. It'll be a great day when I stand in front of the camera and all of this is gone again. So, but all that aside, let's forget all about that. Let's just get into this shoe and look at the details on it and talk about why I think that this one's actually going to do okay. And to understand why I think it's going to do okay, we have to look at the shoes that I don't think are going to do okay. Now, the first one we have to look at is the Nike Pegasus 37, which should be behind me right here on the green screen. I already did a video about it, so I'm not going to get into too much detail, but basically, because like I said earlier in this video, that whole plan where a brand leads up to a sporting event, that was one of the major shoes, the Nike Pegasus 37. They would have been relying on the Olympics to carry the wave of that shoe, and it could have been a great shoe. It's quite innovative and it's got some unique design elements on it, which would have been great in the tie-up to the biggest sporting event on the planet. But with the Olympics being pushed back a year, and probably the Pegasus 38 will be out by that time, then the Pegasus 37, I said it's going to be a forgotten shoe. So there are shoes like that, and there is apparel like that that's going to be lost because of the Olympics moving. But I think mostly those kind of things are the things that are just purely for the sports. So if you think about like Vapor Maxes, or if you think about Vaporflies, or if you think about, I'm specifically thinking about the Nike line, especially because they particularly had some design and technology elements that they only just got approved in time for these Olympics, which gave them an edge ahead of Adidas and other brands out there, running brands especially. And they've lost that edge now because the postponement of a year will give the other brands a chance to catch up with their technology. But if it's just a generic, shoe that's to do with the sport or to do with athletics in general, I think they should shelve those and wait for a year, even if it's a USA brand tied to the USA team, Team USA, and all that kind of stuff. I think it should wait until next year. But if it's a specific athlete's foot, as the one that we're talking about today, specific athlete's foot, that sounds terrible, a specific athlete's sneaker, or line or brand or whatever you want to call that, if it's tied to a specific person, I think they should go ahead and release it right now, because an athlete's popularity, it's not going to kind of dip because the Olympics have been cancelled and then come back again because the Olympics are on. The athletes and personalities and famous people and people who do collaborations with shoes, they don't really have that same dip in popularity. In fact, they might even be becoming more popular because of social media. They're not on the courts or the pitches or the field of play, so they have to find other ways to sort of connect with fans. So they're getting into YouTube, they're getting into Twitter, they're getting into social media in a more deliberate way than they had been before. So I think if a shoe or a piece of apparel, anything like that, is tied to a specific athlete, then it's going to be okay. And that's why I think the Kyrie 6 USA, even though it's particularly tied to the idea that he would have been on the dream team, I mean, he was considered for it. I don't think they got down to their final roster for the Olympics, but he was pretty much guaranteed to be on there. And this shoe was designed to go with that, Team USA for the Olympics, but I think it's still fine to bring it out because he's still a popular athlete and a popular basketball player, so it's still going to do well at the stores. But that's just my opinion. Might be wrong in that. It might turn out that, you know, that USA moniker not having the Olympics there to drive sales is going to make it a bit of a dud. Who knows? But as a shoe itself, which is what we do the next half of the video, is to look at the details on the shoe. It's actually a very clean shoe. You know, full disclosure and all that, I always say that for me, the Kyrie benchmark was the Kyrie 5 Iket, which should be behind me right here. I thought that was an astonishing shoe. Really, really a step forward in design, very creative, very innovative, and also a beautiful shoe to look at, and it also had a really great story to go with it. So for me in the Kyrie line, it's always been the 5s, and in particular the Iket 5s. So anything after that has always been for me. And I have reviewed a few of his shoes for the channel, and especially, you know, 6s, since the 6s came out, and they're just a little bit of a substandard 5 to me. They're very similar, but just less cool, if you like, you know, with the same midfoot strap, the same sort of detailing on the back and that kind of thing. So, but that's not to say this shoe isn't cool. There's a lot in there that I do actually like, and a few details that I think are really important, and that one question that maybe you can answer for me out there. So we'll start with that question. We'll go up high and look down into the insole of the shoe, and you can see the branding on there in the insole of the shoe, and you can also see the lining. Now, hopefully what I'll be able to do is to zoom in on the lining in a couple of places, because I've noticed it in a couple of places. One here, and then we'll flip the view so you can see it in another direction, and we'll zoom in again. And what we're zooming in on is the 11 of diamonds. Most of the news and the push, the hype that I've seen behind this shoe is talking about the all-seeing eye being on the lining, but here we've got that 11 of diamonds, and I haven't been able to find out what that means. So that's my question for you guys out there. In terms of playing cards, you go to the 10 of diamonds and then the jack, or the jock if you're from Scotland, of diamonds. You don't go to the 11 of diamonds. And I tried researching it. What does the 11 of diamonds mean? What is it? The only thing I could come up with is that diamonds are rated on an 11-point scale, but the 11, like 0 to 11, or I think it's 0 to 10, but you know, because 0 is 1, 10 is now 11, so 11 of diamonds is actually the lowest quality in diamonds. So I was like, I'm not sure where that's coming from. So if anyone knows more about that, you know, 11 of diamonds, tying it together with the all-seeing eye, what's the relevance to Kyrie 6, please do let me know in the comments down below. But speaking of that all-seeing eye, let's go and look at a couple of the features on the shoe. You know, it's not too far to go from the insole to the back and look at the heel, where you see that standard structure on the back there, which is that all-seeing eye, the influence of Egypt, especially ancient Egypt, which comes into a lot of Kyrie Irving's shoes. And that all-seeing eye on the back there is an important feature that you see on, I think, all 6s as far as I'm aware. And that's repeated again also on the outsole. If we flip them upside down, you can see that multicolour outsole with the all-seeing eye getting a bit of a pop because of the colour on there as well, which adds a bit of, you know, definition to the bottom half of the shoe, and a bit of a story, a bit of character into what's going on down there. So there's the two sort of all-seeing eye parts, and that lining on the inside, which is, I suppose, reflects the all-seeing eye in some ways, but that 11 of diamonds still confuses me. And then the other place to go on these guys is the midfoot strap. I've talked about midfoot straps a lot. I'm not a huge fan of either midfoot straps or zippers on my shoes, and these guys don't have a zipper on them, they just have that midfoot strap. And I've talked about how sometimes, you know, a shoe will come out that I do like the Reebok bug stompers, I think they were called, which had both a midfoot and an ankle strap. I actually really like that shoe. And I've been critical of, let me think now, is it the gosh, I can't remember which one it is now. I think it's the Why Not 0.3 midfoot strap that sometimes looks a bit cheap. I think it's that. I'm pretty sure it's that. And sometimes with these Kyrie 6s, I haven't liked them. But this one in particular, I actually kind of like, because it fits in with the rest of the shoe, and it doesn't look, you know, when it's translucent, it kind of looks a bit cheap. And there is a feature on there that I really dig, which is a very subtle 6 in Roman numerals, the V and the I. And I don't know how that will look to you. Will that look like a V and an I to you, which is 6, or should I do it that way, which is 6 in Roman numerals? I'm not sure which. But anyway, you'll see on the green screen behind me here, the zoom in on that midfoot strap and that VI there, which represents 6, you know, because it's the Kyrie 6. So, which is cool because it's kind of subtle, you know what I mean? And it's in the same color as the midfoot strap, so it's not in contrast. So you have to kind of know it's there to see it's there, if you know what I mean. And then once you've seen it's there, you know it's there. But as a whole, you know, let's span back out and have a look at the sneaker. One of the main features is the swoosh on the lateral side, and this might be something to do with the diamonds. So if we zoom in on that swoosh, you can see that it's got this kind of diamond effect or crystalline effect to it, and it's also a gradient swoosh that runs from a sort of pinky red through to a bluey color on the back there, and that gradient is matched but reversed on the front of the midfoot. And again on the not the midfoot, the midsole. And again on the green screen here, you'll see me zooming in on that line that is also a gradient. And they both sort of start from the center of the shoe in red and then pan out. The red on the swoosh starts in the center of the shoe and pans out to blue. But on the front, the line on the front there is in red to blue from front to back. So I think they should have reversed that around, and it should have been they both went from center red and then out to blue on the outside. But you know, that's just their choice. So but anyway, yeah, panning out and looking at the whole shoe, it's a great looking shoe. One of my favorite kind of Kyrie 6s, a few of them that I've dropped I haven't been a huge fan of, but this one is kind of cool, and I do think it's a good idea to keep dropping it, even though it's meant to be tied to Team USA, especially in a year when they're going to be having this very patriotic general election for the presidential election in November, and I think that's going to get patriotic and people are going to get behind their sort of USA themed things. So keeping these USA themed drops is actually a good idea, especially when it's tied to a particular athlete. For now though, time for me to sign off and thank you guys for checking out my content. I've been doing this every single day for like 18 months and 6 weeks of that has been in this lockdown, shooting from home instead of where I usually shoot from, shooting in the middle of the night instead of shooting a few and dropping them throughout the week. So this is a bit different for me, but it's working out. I'm glad that you guys are appreciating it. Hopefully I'll get that old haircut sometime soon. For now though, time for me to sign off and thank you guys for checking out my content. But you know what? I do this every single day, and that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.